Yeah.
Oh,
Hello.
are
What
we still
happened?
streaming?
The, I'm pretty sure it stopped because it completely cut me out of Discord, and my phone even couldn't get internet.
Oh, great.
Fan
Done.
freaking tastic. Someone else is gonna have to fix this. I think they've added the editor back into YouTube, but Bill would have to look into that. But anyway,
Okay.
Get it started again.
well, I don't think it stopped, but it definitely disconnected and has reconnected.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So probably split it into a separate stream.
yep.
Yeah, so it's this end bit is gonna be a different video now because our internet suddenly just bottomed out, and it's like not the first time lately. It feels like.
Gotcha.
Well, mind you, they also had a massive power outage just like a day ago.
Oh,
Took out like almost all of central Wisconsin.
confidentially, we didn't get power outed that way. Actually,
Uh,
someone's admitted to something. But anyway.
anyway, we were talking about what Tim disliked. So, Tim,
Yes.
you're going to have to go through some of that again.
I disliked how they presented the notion of pulling people from the past into the future, and then that idea is dropped and it's never used again.
Until
Which is-
Torchwood, like 40 years later.
But no, I mean the whole thing about that was the fact that that was supposed to have been an accident, probably a calibration error when they were first starting. Just sucked him out, and they didn't bother to fix it since that wasn't the goal, and they didn't give a fuck since he'd be wiped out anyway when they were finished. It's like, did you get back 65 million years? No, I only got back 1,000. Damn. So that's why that didn't happen again, because they were wanting to pull dinosaurs because they wanted monsters. But if suddenly, the Crusaders came out and started attacking the dinosaurs, people would really know what was up.
It would have become a little more obvious.
Yeah, it would be harder to claim that somebody was breeding dinosaurs.
If suddenly the sixth or the fourth Crusade comes flying in there, and yeah,
Are you breeding medieval knights?
It's my working theory.
although it'd be interesting, to use that for scientific purpose. Hey, did the Knights of the Round Table exist? Let's find out. If I could turn back time, yeah. All right, Matt. How about you? What did you dislike? And I bet I know what it is.
Oh gosh, do I want to go for the obvious elephant in the room, or do we want to go with something else?
You've got something else. Go for it, because I'm pretty sure somebody will say that elephant, if not me.
It's not an elephant. Elephants are mammals.
Screw it. I'm gonna go with it. The puppets were terrible.
They were horrible. Well, some of them weren't that bad.
The Brontosaurus and I think occasionally the Stegosaurus were fine, and I think the Triceratops was in enough darkness that it hit any major flaws.
The T-Rex was terrible.
The T-Rex was terrible. The pterodactyls were god awful, except for when in black and white, where they looked a little more freaky.
It doesn't help that the first time they appeared on screen, my thought was, oh, the house that they're in has a puppet of a pterodactyl. Because it was such an obvious puppet.
Hi, Terry!
Also did not help that the pterodactyl scene, if it would have cut out a particular scene, it would have been 100% perfect, but they actually kept a scene where you could see what I assume was a burlap tarp being held by the feet of the pterodactyl to hide the puppeteer's hand. What are you smoking, sir?
That one shot is like, okay, we didn't really need that because otherwise this was at least sort of working. I must admit, every time it was clearly probably just like a hand puppet of the head and the doctor was swatting away at it, I fucking laughed so hard because like that was like so bad it's like hilarious at least because It's like really goes into kid show shit where it's like, get the fuck,
Oh,
just piss up, go away.
Would not be the first or the last time the doctor would swat at
Did
his
it-
horse-inspected puppet.
or did the T-Rex look like a model T-Rex that somebody had left on a burner and got half melted?
It's not even that he looked half melted. He was just this really weird hodgepodgey creation.
It was like the jaw
Yeah.
was tilted one way.
The jaw was tilted one
Mm.
way. The eyes were super bugged out and weird. His torso did a weird kind of half twist, and his legs, his ankles in particular, would fold like folding chairs.
Of course, it's kind of funny because when it's like the full like puppet thing, whatever, of like the full body, it looks really bad. But when it's just like the head for some shots, it's still bad, but it's nowhere near as bad.
Yeah, it's
So it's
like
kind of weird.
passable bad when it's the close-ups, but when they have the full body one, it's just like industrial light magic. You done it again.
They had not learned the trick of not showing the monster.
Well, see, they did that with the Triceratops a bit better, but the rest of them just, yeah.
It was really just, it was a matter of the production like crew that were doing it. Like the people at the BBC that were doing it who were like, oh, we can do it. We'll come out with great dinosaurs. And they're like, okay. And they just kind of left him to it. And then it came back and it's like, well, shit, this is the BBC. We don't have money to do this over again. Oh, well.
Yeah. Because, if this had been anything else, the director would have been go back and do it again. Or we'll hire somebody that. But no,
Yeah.
see, so it's like, no, this was our budget.
Yeah.
We're going to have to make it work. This is our budget.
Mm.
The problem is, the most annoying thing is the T-Rex is the most commonly used model.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's the worst.
Mm.
I mean, I look at the Brontosaurus and the Stegosaurus, and I'm just like, okay, well, yeah, that's pretty much what people thought they looked like in the 70s. And it's pretty much some basic. It's pretty much some basic puppeteering, stop motion shit. So, yeah, whatever. And yeah, it's 1974 in England. So those I see, but then I look at that T-Rex and just go, no. Pterodactyl is just like, no.
T-Rex should have been a guy in a Halloween suit.
Would have been an improvement.
I wouldn't have cared if it was Barney the purple dinosaur. It would have been better than that thing.
I would have, because that would mean they were pulling from the future instead of the past.
Hey, that would have killed everything. I love you. Ah!
Audiences in the
They
70s
wouldn't have had to
would be so
evacuate
confused.
London. It would have evacuated on its own.
Although now I'm remembering, was it Robin Williams that did that Barney parody movie?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
There's a
what
weird one where I know he's in some sort of costume on the cover, but other than that, I haven't a clue.
But, the BBC, to get this to work, they should have just contacted Studio Toho and said, look, we need guys in rubber suits being dinosaurs. Can you do that? And they would have been like, yes. All right, Thomas, now it's up to you. What did you dislike about this serial? Also, Studio Toho, it would have made Matt happy.
They at least knew what they were doing.
I guess just to be kind of a bit like, it's the only thing I can really think of. So the fact that, as much as I love how proactive Sarah Jane is, the fact that she doesn't learn from the first time she trusts someone and just immediately is like, ah, yes, you're like an army guy, I can trust you. And it's like, oh shit. It's just like, it's like one of those few things where it's like I could kind of understand, but at the same time, it's like, okay, the politician turned out to be the bad guy. What makes you think that this high-ranking general dude isn't gonna be the same thing? He's been acting kind of shifty anyway.
Especially since he led her into a trap.
Yeah.
But you see, the thing is, you weren't here when I was watching that, and I saw that happen. I'm just like, God damn it, Sarah Jane!
Mm.
I actually bellowed that because I'm just like, oh my God, you just walked right into it again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, thankfully, she at least gets herself out of these situations, and it's not a case of having to be rescued.
Right.
But you know.
Well, you know what they say: the best way to get information is get yourself captured. I guess they teach that in journalism school.
Apparently, that's one of the doctors. That's one of the doctor's primary ways.
Sarah Jane and Lois Lane were in class together.
With April O'Neil?
Pretty much. They were the golden trio right there. All right, Bill, how about you? What did you dislike about this serial?
I'm going to have to say The Cult. It's just too over the top, and just the combination of the re-education and the being so, like, I don't know how gullible you have to be tricked into believing that you're in a spaceship when you're still in London. Like,
I'll admit to those particular people being easily gullible and swindled. The re-education thing is actually legit something that I keep hearing about every once in a while. It's like,
oh
ooh.
yeah, that's very Orwell. That
Mm-hmm.
part of it is very Orwell.
No, I'm not saying that, like that. No, I'm saying that it still feels a little over the top, to the point of like, yeah, you're obviously invoking this like extreme image, like in the middle of an like, but I know where that's coming from. But like, I don't know. It's everything about The Cult just seems too much to me, and it's just.
I would have liked it better if it discovers that they had been.
Hello?
Did you cut out? Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, am I getting cut out again? No, that was Randy.
No, I must. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, I would have liked it better if they had been completely like brainwashed.
Not that would have been more effective, yeah.
Trick, but completely.
Like if it was actually like through a hypnosis machine or something.
Yeah, but they just did that with the Green Death, so I think they were reluctant to do it again.
True.
Yeah.
Although that would also explain Mike's heel turn a little better.
It would.
Mm-hmm.
But then because Mike fell for it in the Green Death, so it would have been. People would have gone, "Oh, this is the Green Death all over again."
Right.
But yeah, if you're asking how gullible they are, I don't know. Just as gullible as somebody being tricked to think that they're an android. God, I hate Journey to the Center of the TARDIS.
At least androids follow the same rules of gravity as everybody else. When you're on a spaceship and you still have Earth's gravity underneath you.
Artificial gravity. I mean, they're already bullshitting.
In the 1970s.
They're already bullshitting they've got warp drive.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. They're already bullshitting the warp drive. How do you think they got past the fake gravity part?
Too much Star Trek and couldn't separate fact from fiction.
No, I'm thinking that this might rival Enemy of the World for the most convoluted plan.
It's the same. I mean, half of it's the same plan. I forgot I was going to mention Enemy of the World when I talked about The Cult, but yeah, that's part of it.
Well, they hadn't done it in about 5 years.
Is this a better or worse plan than the Dalek Master plan, though? I hear the cringe.
They both involve turn back time.
Turn back time? No, the Daleks sped up time.
I will not be able to watch this episode now without thinking of that song whenever they start doing that shit.
It doesn't help. I'm pretty sure they say those exact words a couple times.
Yes. Oddly enough, though,
They're
Oddly
like, it turns back time, and they're like, and they find a way.
Well,
the thing is, it didn't hit me until the podcast, but now that it's in here, it won't go away. All right. So what I disliked about the episode is the visual effects they used could have used a little more.
A little.
Well, it really didn't feel like it was a temporal effect. You just if it was a little more swirly or something.
Oh, you mean the time warping effect?
Yes.
Yeah, that particular visual could have used a little more touching up as well.
Yeah.
I must admit, in hindsight, in like the episode where it shows up in front of that station or whatever that the Doctor ends up at, I almost thought, wow, this almost kind of looks like something out of like a Sentai.
Yeah,
it does look like
it's
something out of a
probably about the same budget.
Why do you think my brain kept going to hire Studio Toho? They could have done it better. Albeit, I did see a clip on YouTube once of what if Doctor Who was a Japanese Sentai. That was.
Well, that's a fan parody, yeah.
Yeah, it is a fan parody. It's still weird.
Saiba.
Yes.
And a dog that laughs.
Yeah. All right. So your favorite scene, Tim?
Okay. My favorite scene was. I loved the scene where it was the T-Rex versus the Brontosaurus.
You would.
And the doctor just looks on rather like, well, that's a thing that happened. Oh, well, back to the story.
I must admit, I always laugh when the T-Rex swings his tail around and smacks the Brontosaurus in the face. Just something about it, because it's kind of out of nowhere. It's just whack, and I'm just like, ooh. It just
Yeah,
always
that
sets
particular
me off
sound effect
laughing.
is just like, ooh, that's a meaty sound effect.
And that's a sort of action you would expect to see in like a Godzilla movie, but done much better.
Yeah, Matt, how about you?
Favorite scene. Actually, I'm gonna go with the one dinosaur scene that was effective. The one where the T-Rex is starting to smash through the window to get Sarah Jane. That was actually an effect that they actually pulled off really well, and I think it was also because they were using the same close-up head for the T-Rex to try and smash through the window, and even use the new tail to smash the window initially, and then you see the T-Rex head getting closer and starting to poke its nose through the window.
I'm pretty sure they had different T-Rex models for stuff.
I'm sure they did, but that one in particular, for a lot of those scenes there, if it wasn't laying on its side, they were using the close-up model a lot. Or models a lot. And and the close-up models were definitely the better out of the ones they used for T-Rex, and that was just a nice effect of it slowly smashing into the window, especially since we've seen the window like 5 or 6 times by this point. So it's a set we're familiar with, and they did a good recreation job of it.
All right, Thomas, how about you?
Oh, I have a few. Yeah, screw it. I'll just go with the one that I've been thinking that I would use anyway. When it's like when they're about to make the call to Geneva, and then Mike Yates comes in, and the Doctor tries to talk him down, and it's the first instance of the, like, I kind of get where you're coming from, but like, dude, this is like, what the fuck? This is way too fucking far. Like, the world isn't, completely fucked yet. You can still try to make something of what you've got.
And now,
instead of just giving
years
up.
Later, nothing.
Yeah, which is why this is kind of extremely relevant.
Yeah, it's a statement I have actually made. It's like, how can your utopia
be
45
years
if it's built on the bones of billions of
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to have a perfect society when you have to commit murder, mass murder to do it.
Right.
And you're
Yeah.
talking about murdering people just because they don't agree with you.
No, you're talking about murdering people just because they're in your way at that point. Whether
Yeah,
they,
and that's what the people on the spaceship were doing.
No, I'm not. I was talking about more of the let's delete the entire history of the human race.
Right.
Well, that
Yeah.
was what the scientists were planning to do, but then the people on the spaceship weren't getting much better at certain points either.
Well, yeah, but it's like it's one of those things where they're like slightly less extreme because when they find out what's going on, they're all like, "Dude,
horrified.
what the
They're
fuck?"
horrified at the idea of, yeah, we're mass murdering people. What? No.
Yeah. Go back to their golden age. It can't be a golden if you have to kill 5 billion people to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Something that always bothered me about Sailor Moon, their future Crystal Tokyo is supposed to be this great utopia. Yet you had to kill 98% of the planet to get there? No. Anyway. So who are we up to? Favorite scene? Bill?
Is it me? Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the scene where it seems like the general has got the doctor in his sights. He has him just where he wants him, and then those meddling kids show up, and the brigadier's like, "Yeah, if you fuck with me, I'm gonna have Benson blow your head off."
This is a mutiny.
That's probably the
he's
most
like,
badass
"No,"
moment
yeah.
Benton got in the entire series.
He's like, no, I wouldn't dream of mutiny. I'm just doing my job.
It is not, and that'll lead you to my favorite scene.
Oh, that's right, actually.
Benton versus the general.
Yes, it's too bad the scene cut
down the
short just by a couple moments too soon.
Don't
and he's just like,
make it
I'll
happen
have you court-martialed for this. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. It's perfect British. You know, if this was an American doing this, it would have been, yeah, I'd like to see you try. But
Yes,
no,
sir. Sorry,
Benton's
sir. Fuck you,
British.
sir.
Yeah, Benton's British, so he's just, yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
And like I said though, they you literally see him pull back, and he mentions later that he did actually punch the general in the nose. And that you see him pulling back for that haymaker that he was going to go for that scene, and it's like, oh, dang it.
But it's for me, it's just that yes, sir, sorry, sir. It's so fucking perfect. It's so freaking British. It's perfect. All right, least favorite scene.
And I remembered my backup.
Yes. So my least favorite scene is the scene where they set the doctor up and the general says, "Aha, there's your monster maker caught in the act." And I'm like, what exactly did you catch him doing that
Was so convincing.
That was so convincing? You know, that he was found with a dinosaur. Other people have been found with dinosaurs. Like, this will not hold up in a court of law, even a military tribunal. You know, this is unconvinced. And the brigadier himself should have seen something that well, just that the brigadier should have seen through the general a lot sooner, and this scene is just a great example of that, I think. So that it just didn't work for me.
All right, Matt.
Least favorite scene. I guess the really wonky scene, I think it was the end of episode 2 where the doctor was trying to use the gun and it wasn't working because it was sabotaged, and you just get this super close-up of the really awkward full puppet of the T-Rex, and it's just like these freaky derpy eyes and this drooling jaw, and it's just like, yeah.
Didn't it kind of look like it had like fire extinguisher foam sprayed on it?
Not so much foam. Like they had some sort of like I don't know if they filmed it in slow motion or what it was, but they had some sort of like slow moving, like almost saliva stuff that came out of its mouth constantly. At least when they were doing the outdoor shots and they were that close to it, you could see it really easily. There's a couple times you could see them dribble.
All right, Thomas, how about you?
So fakey.
I'm gonna have to go with when the Doctor and Sarah Jane are being transported and then they stop because there's a T-Rex, but specifically because it's very clear that they didn't necessarily know where the hell the T-Rex was going to end up, because one unit guy is shooting at it and the other guy is just shooting at nothing.
Well, the one unit guy was
It's just
barely
like,
shooting at it, and the other one was completely not even trying.
yeah. One guy was like at least right in front of it, so it didn't really matter if he wavered a bit because he was still sort of in the range of it. The other guy's like way off to the side, aiming near like buildings and shit, and it's like, oh god.
All right, Bill.
So nobody took either of my scenes, and I kind of thought one of them was going to be taken by the time it got to me. So now I got to pick. But I'm actually going to go with the less obvious one because it's kind of a systemic issue in this kind of story. In that, this one was very early on, and all the music is setting the suspense and letting you know something creepy and dangerous is going on, and they better be careful. And they're like, "Wait, get that guy." And then the guy casually gets out of the car, slowly closes the garage, not a care in the world. And then the Doctor and Sarah Jane are strolling down the street like a Sunday afternoon with no sort of rush or urgency or anything. And I'm just like, okay, completely killed the mood. Are you padding for time? What is going on here? And that is the moment about 10 minutes into episode 1 where I'm like, this is actually a 4-part story that they stretched to 6 parts, isn't it?
At times.
Would it helped if the Sarah Jane and the Doctor were creep instead of just strolling?
You kind of cut out for.
Would it help if they were creeping instead of just strolling like they were trying not to?
Well, I think it would help if they were at first running and then they got to the corner and kind of creeped and like we heard something weird and looked around.
Because like from the way they were talking about it, just seemed like they should have been running, trying to get the guy's attention or something, and they just were not remotely doing that.
Okay. So my least favorite scene is also relatively early on because it raised a question. Early on, we see the Doctor attempt to call Unit HQ. Can't because the phone's dead. Later on, once we see the looter loot the jewelry store, Sarah tries to dial 999 and says they're not picking up, indicating it's ringing but not answering. Why didn't the Doctor take that time to call Unit HQ?
Yeah, it's gotta be one of the weird, odd, still working phones. You'd think he would have thought of something.
You would have thought he would have called that in right away.
Right.
It's just one of those little itty bitty plot holes that I'm just like, wait a minute.
And that's where you padded more of it up. Now he continues to bust criminals and takes their stuff and ends up looking like a criminal himself. Congrats.
My other issue is the fact that later on when they're brought before the little military tribunal thing, and he tries to explain that he's the scientific advisor, doesn't he have a unit card?
I guess the question is, did he have it on him?
I think he had like an ID of some kind,
on him.
and he should have it on him. Yeah, you would think.
You can never find it. He has too much stuff in his pockets.
Yeah, that'd be the problem. He'd be pulling like 20 other things out, and then he'll find it. By then, they're already annoyed and left.
Yeah.
By the way, I shared in chat an image I found earlier. That's the actual dinosaur T-Rex puppet, by the way.
That looks much better than anything from the episode.
By the looks of it, that's also the miniature set they did of the area where he was contained.
Hmm.
Yeah, you can see the broken rafter and everything behind him up to the top.
Mhm.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
god, that broken rafter scene. Oh god. You could so tell that was faked out because rafters don't. Anyway, we've gone through that. So our final thoughts, Tim.
Final thoughts. Well, invasion might be too strong a word. Maybe random appearances by some dinosaurs to cover up a time travel plot. But then again, that might have been a hard title to sell to the network, so I'll forgive that. I did like the special effects, especially the dinosaur puppets and the awesome use of the blue screen effect.
By the way, that reminds me, the dinosaurs actually didn't use a blue screen. They used a yellow screen of all things.
A yellow screen?
Oh.
Yeah, I've actually seen
I guess
stills
that
of it.
makes sense because the some of the dinosaurs were kind of bluish,
Mm.
mostly green,
Well,
but
they used some kind of screen, and I thought it was very nice.
I guess they hadn't invented red screens yet.
Green screen was still 10 years away.
The performances by the Doctor and Sarah Jane Smith were excellent as always. Good appearances by Sergeant Benton, who gets his moments to shine, and the plot was actually intriguing and not while convoluted. It didn't seem all that far fetched for the time being. So I did think this episode was a lot better than Gunfighters. But apparently, according to you guys, that's not saying much. But it was overall a pretty decent episode, I think.
All right.
Passable.
Okay. Matt. By the way, yellow screen was actually pretty common back in the 70s. And it was developed by the
I'm
British
sharing
film.
the image of the puppets, by the way. I've shared it in chat as well. On the yellow screen. And you can actually see a person's hand on the tail. So yeah, they're basically using big action figures. Figures so much.
Disney appeared the yellow screen process quite a bit in the 60s and 70s.
Oh. Okay. But yes, so my feelings on this. This is a really awkward one. On one side, you've got this really good story, really thought out, really well done. You got these really well acted characters. And for the most part, they seem pretty sensible outside of some of their crazier moments here and there. And you got our main central cast that are doing a splendid job all the way through, and some of the backup guys behind them also doing really great jobs. But then you've got these visual effects that are lackluster even for their time. These dinosaur puppets that who decided this was what they were going to go with should be fired. Just the worst. And the fact that they used some of these live with the Doctor and others on set, it's like you should have already had warning signs before fully devoting to this. I feel there was shenanigans afoot, and it was not, and that really did hurt it, at least visually for this episode. A lot. And it's a shame because it almost makes the good acting and directing go to waste, and the good writing.
All right. Thomas?
I can honestly say that my opinion since I first watched this randomly last year has not changed. I absolutely love the area. Like, yes, there are dodgy effects, but like the acting and the story is good enough that I will forgive it, that kind of stuff. Like, it's all just nitpicky to me. I will sing this damn thing. As far as I'm concerned, this is underrated because this story like just cops so much crap because it's just that one with the dodgy dinosaurs, and it's like I feel like just the acting and the story are good enough that people should be able to overlook that. But oh well. I mean, it's friggin' hell. It's Doctor Who. There are dodgy special effects a lot of the time, and hell, we're like.
Oh,
Like the next two things aren't exactly going to have amazing things either, really.
I
But
just remember one other thing, but you finish first.
but yeah, like this honestly, I guess as far as like lesser well remembered things, like less regarded stuff, this would probably be my equivalent of Tim's obsession with Time Lash. I would say like the first time I watched this, I was on the edge of my goddamn seat because I had no idea what the fuck was gonna happen. And I was just so into it. And it did not. I mean, I wasn't necessarily on my edge and on the edge of my seat rewatching, but I still enjoyed this as much as I did the first time. I really do think people should actually check this out.
All right. Bill?
I think Matt was about to say something.
I remember one other thing that I took me out of the episode was there's some really dodgy set work. Like so dodgy, in fact, that people close doors and I see 3 out of the 4 walls rumble.
Hmm.
Like it is super bad. So even the sets were god awful in this episode too.
Well, Doctor Who's known for its wobbly sets.
Yeah.
They wobble more than usual. I mean, I can
Hmm.
forgive some of the foam stone sets, but this was Ed Wood level of wobble. Anyways,
Okay.
continue, Bill.
So to set the record straight on the issue of dodgy, if your dodgy is at the top, below dodgy is spray painted green bubble wrap. Below spray painted green bubble wrap are these dinosaurs. The only thing below that are the vervoids. So
Actually, the Vervoid costumes were very well done. They just happen to look like freaking vaginas.
Find it, Stanley.
okay.
I mean, keep in mind, in 2 weeks we're doing Warriors of the Deep. Sorry, these dinosaurs aren't that bad.
I could almost be okay with their stationary appearances, except for the fact that they try to do scenes. We never actually got to the point of complaining about the scene where it's a fight scene that includes the Brontosaurus's head doubling back around because the puppet wasn't made of stern enough stuff to actually perform the move that they were attempting. So, no, just poor planning all around. But on top of that, as I mentioned, the episode felt like it got either stretched out or maybe it was like five episodes and they padded it out to 6 or something. But there's definitely some times where they just seem to be moving in slow motion.
Well, yeah, whenever they turned on the time pack
No,
thing.
other than that, there were scenes where I was skipping through 30 seconds at a time, and it felt like nothing was happening even then. And then, yeah, the whole cult issue, which is just too much, especially, I don't know, it's
See, I forgive the
quite a
little
bit
bit of the
dodgy
too
there.
much because it's a silly sci-fi show from the 70s.
Yeah.
This is the age of.
But I can
But
just
there's
say,
enough there that it feels grounded enough that I'm like, okay, I understand where this crazy is coming from.
while certain aspects of this are at least as good as or better than Gunfighters, I will not be rating this as highly as Thomas or Tim.
Okay. So my thought is,
I mean, no one will be.
this was an episode with a lot of potential. Well written. It had choice actors who did their jobs. the entire blame on why this episode falls short is the visual effects.
Mhm.
The set, the creatures, and the video effects.
Yep.
All fell short, and I don't know if it's because they spent the budget on other things. But I'm looking at all the episodes around this, and I'm trying to figure out what they would have spent the money on. Maybe the freaking
They spent it all on baked potatoes and tinfoil that they used on the previous episode.
I was going to say on the big ass city that they used in Death of the Daleks.
Hmm.
That's a
But
possibility too.
Was Death to the Daleks the one with the massive scene of Dalek action figures?
no, that was
I think that was a couple
Oh,
seasons
maybe that was
ago.
Planet of the Daleks.
yeah, that might have.
Yeah, that was probably Planet.
No, Death of the Daleks had the small Dalek that
Mhm.
had to convert their weapons to have bullets.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the really intricate model city, and then they had all these intricate puzzle traps and stuff within the city walls, and then you had the weird snake creatures, and you had these big platoons of Daleks that needed to get destroyed by the snake creatures, etc., etc.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff in that episode, and you could feel the money being used in that one.
I'm wondering if that caused them to skimp on this episode.
That might have been unintentionally caused them issues with this one, yeah.
Which is why the visual effects department didn't have the budget to do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, with what was going on, when a director is handed what they're handed in this, they know what they need to do is play down the shitty visual effects. This director didn't do that. No, he put the crap front and center.
Well, they didn't really have a choice, I don't think, by that point.
To be fair, this director she is not exactly known for being a good director to get on effects-heavy stories, because she's just better interacting with actors and that.
Yeah,
rather
she,
than
as far as I was
visual
aware,
effects.
she basically treated the visuals as second unit, and she didn't touch it at all.
Well, whoever was in charge of it should have known better to change the lighting or something.
Mm-hmm.
Try to make it look like, change a scene from day to night, something, so that the monsters were hidden as much as possible. Could only take choice shots. But no,
get more of the proper angles that didn't look completely bunk.
Everything happened during the day, and all the models were front and center, and
ugly as sin.
Yeah, you saw all the flaws, and that is a failure on the director's part as well as the. And for me, that is a markdown because effects are one of the killers that make the story.
At least for a science fiction show, yes.
As well, especially for a visual spectacle episode like this one.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that really badly hurts this.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to ratings. All right. I believe, Tim, you are first in rating this.
Yes, and I said I like this better than the Gunslingers, and I gave the Gunslingers 3.5, so I will give this a 4.
Jesus,
Yikes.
You were a bastard.
You're sorry, I'm hearing every other syllable again, Randy.
I said it's like, geez, you're a generous bastard.
I am.
Yes, you very much are, Tim.
Matt, counterpoint that, please.
Counterpoint it. Okay. Everything else was good, but the visuals robbed this one hard. I cannot honestly give it more than a 3.0.
All right.
Because there's bad visuals, and then there's just, you didn't even try, or you're barely trying.
Thomas.
Well, as I said before, this is basically my time lash, so this.
Hello?
Thomas?
Yeah, Thomas just stopped. Hello, Thomas?
I guess I must have cut out or something. Maybe my signal dropped.
You're saying this is your time lash?
So this gets a 5. Very easy. 5 in my opinion.
You're insane. You need to go to the asylum. Okay, Bill.
I've got
You're-
to quote
you're
Zim
a
now.
harsh
You got the
person.
brainworms.
I
Part of
rule the asylum.
part of me wanted to give this the same rating as the Gunfighters just to balance things out, but since I like it a little bit more in certain areas, I'll give it a 2.0.
No. All right. This. I am going to be the critic here, and I'm going to give this a 1.
Yowza.
Puts it on the Web Planet level, which is about right. Because again, it's a horrible failure by the part. That the same, which, when added together, averages this episode to a 3.1.
I'm closest to being right.
That's it. The hugest range to come out to. Actually, no, because I think we've had episodes that got a 5 and a 1, haven't we?
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I bet I can guess who gave it the 5.
Maybe.
3.1. We'll put this episode at number 251 of 300 things. It is on par with Rings of a Cotton, Cold War, Asylum of the Daleks, Survival, Planet of Fire, and the Sea Devils. It is better than The Wheel in Space, The End of Time, wow, The Beast Below, Deep Breath, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, ironically, and Revelation of the Daleks. But it's not as good as Arc of Infinity, Robot, wow, The Pandorica Opens, The Big Bang, Time Lash, The Highlanders, The Daleks Master Plan, wow,
Oof,
yeah,
when the master plan is beyond you.
there we go. 251 out of 300. That is all we have to say about Invasion of the Dinosaurs.
All right. So yeah, let's hear in the comments below what you guys think of this story. If Thomas was right, if Randy was right, or if somebody in between. We pretty much got every a different reviewer for every rating in between there.
Tell me I'm right.
And before everybody on YouTube comments, the movie I was talking about before was Death to Smoochie, and yes, Robin Williams was in it, so you don't have to tell us. But yeah, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff.
That all you have to say?
Yep.
All right, so next week we continue the bad as we move on from Pertwee to Tom Baker. It is probably considered the worst Tom Baker episode ever made, and we're including Robot on that list.
Dun, dun,
It's
dun.
The Horns of Nyman, written by Anthony Reed and starring Tom Baker as the Doctor and Lala Ward as Romana. We will see you next week with more crap.
The horns of oh dear.
Horns of Fail.
Good night.
Nighty night.